All right, let's talk about laziness. Today, we're going to break down the core message from the book, The Art of Laziness. And trust me, it's a real wake-up call. This isn't just another list of productivity tips. Nope, we're talking about a complete shift in how you look at your life, your time, and your choices. And it all kicks off with one surprisingly powerful question. So the book doesn't really ease you into it. It just, bam, hits you with a question that's designed to stop you in your tracks. It forces you to zoom out from your day-to-day grind and really confront the big picture.
No, seriously. Take a second and actually think about that. What will your 80-year-old self wish you had done differently? Because the whole idea of this book rests on this one concept. If you can answer that question honestly, you've already taken the first, most important step to beating laziness for good.
Look, the point here isn't to bum you out. It's to create a sense of urgency. Because let's be real, time is finite. The average person gets about 3,700 weeks on this planet. If you're 30, you've already used up 1,500 of them. The clock is absolutely ticking. And when you look at the most common regrets people have, not chasing that dream, wasting time, not being with family, letting their health slide, the book points out that they all come from the exact same place, inaction. They are basically the ghosts of all the things we didn't do.
So that brings up the big question, right? Why do we get stuck in this trap? If we kind of know what we're going to regret, why on earth do we keep putting things off? Well, the book has a pretty clear diagnosis for that. The first big reason is, of course, the comfort zone. It's just easy. Growing means doing hard stuff. Scrolling on your phone is easy. Building a business is hard. Watching another series is comfortable. Hitting the gym is uncomfortable. But all the things that truly matter in life, they happen just outside that cozy little bubble. Okay, this second trap is a big one. Blame. It feels kind of good for a minute, doesn't it? Because if it's someone else's fault, it's not on you. But the book makes it super clear that blame is a complete dead end. It makes you powerless and stops you from ever actually fixing the problem. And that right there, that idea, brings us to the absolute heart of this entire book. It's the one principle that unlocks everything else. So what's the answer? What's the solution to all this? Well, it's not some complicated 10-step program. It's actually a really simple, though sometimes difficult, shift in your mindset. It's all about taking 100% responsibility. I know, that sounds a little harsh, right? But the logic here is solid. You can't solve a problem until you own it. The second you accept full responsibility for your situation is the exact same second you get all your power back to change it. And honestly, that's not harsh, that's liberating. This is the ultimate truth of the responsibility principle. We have this tendency to wait, for the perfect opportunity, for someone to give us a break, for a hero to show up. But the reality is, you have to be your own hero. And to really drive this home, the book tells a great little story about a farmer. So this farmer, he kept waiting for his neighbors and friends to come help him harvest his wheat. But day after day, nobody showed up. The wheat was about to spoil. The harvest only got done when he finally turned to his son and said, "Forget it. Tomorrow, we will cut the crops ourselves." And the lesson is just so clear. You can wait forever, but nothing happens until you decide to do it yourself. That story leads us to a really interesting idea in the book, where it basically sorts people into 3 categories. The first group, the majority, they never even start. The second group, the quitters, they start, but they give up as soon as it gets tough. And then there's the third group, the persistent ones. They keep pushing no matter what, and they're the ones who succeed. So the book asks you a direct question. Which one are you? Okay, so you've accepted total responsibility. Awesome. But now what? Well, you need some tools to actually get moving. The book offers a few really powerful mindsets to help you take action. So let's jump into the first one. The first mindset is about choosing your pain. I know, sounds a little weird, right? But as the saying goes, we all have to suffer one of 2 pains. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And here's the thing. The pain of discipline, of doing the hard thing now, it weighs ounces. But the pain of regret, looking back on a life you didn't live, that weighs tons. All right, the next huge roadblock for so many of us is this obsession with perfection. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect skills. But you know what? It's just a trap. This quote right here is the antidote. Waiting around for perfect is just procrastination dressed up in a fancy suit. The key is just to start, even if it's messy, even if it's not great. You can always adjust and improve as you go. Think about it. You can't steer a parked car. You have to be moving.
Hey, even the greatest minds struggled with this. Leonardo da Vinci supposedly spent over a decade on the Mona Lisa. The real danger of perfectionism is that it keeps us from ever finishing or sometimes from even starting in the first place. We have to learn to embrace good enough so we can move on to the next thing.
Now, this next mindset is all about perspective. So often, something happens that we immediately label as bad, and we let it completely derail us and make us want to quit. The book uses a classic story to really challenge this way of thinking.
You might have heard it. A farmer's horse runs away. His neighbors say, "Oh, what bad luck." The farmer just says, "Maybe." The horse comes back with a herd of wild horses. "What good luck," they say. "Maybe," he replies. Then his son breaks his leg taming one. "Bad luck." "Maybe." Then the army comes to draft young men, but they skip his son because of the broken leg. You get the idea. We almost never know if something is truly good or bad in the grand scheme of things. So instead of letting a setback crush you, just say maybe and keep moving forward.
And finally, the book throws down a challenge. It's a call to arms, really, to actively fight against mediocrity, which is basically just settling for less than what you're truly capable of.
This quote just nails the book's final point. If you hate what you do every day, you're never going to find the motivation to escape laziness. The energy to push through the hard parts comes from loving the process. Settling is just a fast track to a life filled with procrastination and ultimately regret.
So after all of these stories and mindsets and harsh truths, what's the one thing you should walk away with? It's pretty simple, actually. This isn't about making a grand plan for next year or even for tomorrow. It's about what you do right now, in the next 5 minutes.
This is it. This is the entire message of the book, boiled down to 6 words. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. You know that old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is now. Well, it's true. Now is all you've got.
The book has laid out the roadmap. It's shown you the traps and it's handed you the keys. But there's one thing it can't do, and that's take the first step for you. That responsibility, well, it's always been and always will be completely yours.